LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for 10th and 11th October 2023. चले आज के एजेंडा की तरफ चलते हैं. We'll be starting with the editorial section first. It's a very interesting editorial section on the validity and the constitutionality of the money bills. So when can a bill be designated as money bill? Supreme Court to hear the challenge, which we have taken from the Indian Express. Then we'll be talking about some news update in which we'll be talking about some national news, international news, days, awards and sports. And lastly, the legal news update. Now, today's TNA would be in a very big format. So, because we have a lot of news today coming up. So, keep patience with us in explaining every news because I don't want to rush and miss any important update for the day. Okay. Chaliye. When can a bill be designated as a money bill? Supreme Court to hear challenge. Now, the first question that would be coming is what is money bill first? And secondly, why this particular bill can be designated as money bill and Supreme Court is hearing this particular challenge? Because already what is money bill has been explained in the constitution very well in Article 110 subclause 3. So, the categorization, what is money bill, has been explained in the constitution itself in the article mentioned. But Supreme Court would be hearing this particular plea and why it would be hearing the particular plea. So let us understand first the context. So Honorable Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, has said on Friday, that was 6th October, that a 7-judge bench will soon be constituted to hear a batch of plea challenging centre's use of money bill route to pass certain key legislation. So centre has passed some legislation and categorizing them as money bill, and it has been challenged before the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court has said that it would hear this plea before the 7 judges bench. Now, the CJI observation was made when he was hearing a plea specifically challenging the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now, 7 judges bench would be constituted. Why it would be constituted? To examine whether a law was validly categorized as money bill or only to circumvent scrutiny of the Rajya Sabha. So when I will tell you what is money bill and how it is passed in the parliament, then you will get to know that why this particular plea has been challenged before the Supreme Court. So let us understand money bill. So a money bill is a bill in the opinion of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Remember students, it's Speaker of the Lok Sabha, not the Rajya Sabha, deals with taxation or appropriation of public fund, the Consolidated Fund of India or the Contingency Fund of India. A money bill can only be introduced in Lok Sabha, and Speaker categorizing as money bill means that it need not to be passed in Rajya Sabha. So very important consideration here is that a bill is a money bill has to be decided by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and once the bill is categorized as money bill, it need not to be passed by the Rajya Sabha. So, for example, the union budget that comes yearly is a money bill. So, if any question arises whether a bill is a money bill or not, whose decision is final? The decision of the Speaker of the House of the People, that is Lok Sabha, shall be final. So, if any particular scrutiny comes that whether a bill is a money bill or not, then the Speaker of the House of the People, that is Lok Sabha, decision will be final. Now comes the important question that at what extent judicial review is possible on the Speaker's decision. So court in 2018 in the Aadhaar case judgment held that Speaker decision will be subject to judicial scrutiny. Okay. So very clear what is money bill, whose decision is final and whether it is subject to judicial scrutiny or not. Now, under Article 110, a bill is deemed to be a money bill if it deals with only matters specified in Article subclause 1, subclause A to G. That is taxation, borrowing by the government, appropriation of money from the Consolidated Fund of India, and among others. Okay. Citing this additional clause, that is clause G, any matter incidental to any of the matters specified in Article 1 to A to F. The Modi government has introduced several key legislation. So the government has used Article 110, subclause 1, subclause F, subclause G, sorry, in which it is stated any matters incidental. So they have passed several key legislation as money bill, bypassing the Rajya Sabha. Now the opposition has argued that this was done only because the government did not have the numbers to get this legislation cleared in Rajya Sabha. So the argument of the opposition is that the majority government has not sufficient numbers to get the bill passed in Rajya Sabha. So they categorize the bill as money bill. Now, what the larger bench will decide? The larger bench will decide the constitutionality of the three legislation that are passed as money bill, that is the including the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, will be examined afresh by a larger bench in the light of whether this law is qualified as money bill. And the other two are, one is the Aadhaar Act and the 2017 amendment altering service conditions of tribunal. Okay. Now, while the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, Aadhaar Act, has been substantially upheld by the court, the PMLA, that is Prevention of Money Laundering Act, and the Aadhaar Act has been substantially upheld by the court. The Supreme Court has struck down the amendment that are mentioned in the Tribunals Act. So the Supreme Court has struck down the Tribunals Amendment Act. Now, let us understand about the PMLA. So in July 2022, a three-judge bench comprising Justice A.M. Khanwilkar, Dinesh Maheshwari, and C.T. Ravikumar has upheld the PMLA and the vast powers of the ED. However, the bench has left the validity of amendment to the PMLA through the money bill route open for the larger bench to hear. So the amendment that have come up by this particular acts have been constitutionally valid under PMLA and Aadhaar Act, but whether they can be categorized as money bill or not has been left to the larger bench to be decided. The Finance Act passed in 2015, 16, 18, 19 brought the crucial amendments to the PMLA. Finance bill passed during the budget are introduced as money bill under Article 110 of the Constitution. Now, when it comes to Aadhaar Act, the first major challenge on whether a bill qualified to be money bill under the Constitution came up in the Aadhaar case only. In a 4-1 majority, the Supreme Court had ruled in favor of government and had cleared the Aadhaar Act as a valid money bill. But incidentally, Justice Chandrachud had been the lone dissenter in the Aadhaar ruling and has said that it's a fraud to the Constitution and a subterfuge. The government had argued that since the subsidized distributed through Aadhaar flows from Consolidated Fund of India, the law is validly categorized as money bill. Now come the tribunal reforms. In November 2019, Roger Matthew versus Union of India, Supreme Court heard the challenge against the tweaks in the service conditions of tribunal members, which was also introduced as money bill in the Finance Act 2017. On the issue of tribunal, the government argued that the salaries of the members of the tribunal flow from Consolidated Fund of India. The amendment were introduced as money bill. Now, while a 5-judge bench of the court struck down the law as unconstitutional for referring with judicial independence, it referred the bill respect to a larger constitution bench, which is 7 judges bench, and it will be here soon. In doing so, the court also expressed doubt over the correctness of a 5-judge constitution bench 2018 verdict upholding the Aadhaar Act, which had been passed as a money bill. So this was all about the 3 acts, that is Prevention of Money Laundering Act, Aadhaar Act, and the tribunal reforms that have come up. The validity, whether this bill is a money bill or not, has to be heard by a 7 judges bench soon, and we'll keep you updated on this particular status update that what has happened in the Honorable Supreme Court and how it is going before the 7 judges bench. So this was all about the editorial session. Now, the national news that is coming up first is India re-elected as a president of Asia Pacific Institute for Broadcasting Development, that is AIBD, for the third successive term. So India has been re-elected as a president for the third successive term. On the above achievement, the Secretary of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting stated that this milestone has happened for the first time in the history of AIBD, and which is an organization of 50 years old. Now, let us understand what is Asia Pacific Institution for Broadcasting Development. It established in 1977 under UNESCO, is a unique regional intergovernmental organization. Now, how many members are there? There are 92 member organizations from across 44 countries, including 26 government members represented by 48 broadcasting authority and broadcasters, and 44 affiliations, that like organization for which represented by 28 countries, and they are coming from Asia, Pacific, Europe, Africa, Arab states, and North America. India is one of the founding members of AIBD, and Prasar Bharati, India's public service broadcaster, is the representative body of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Government of India. Okay. So India has been re-elected as a president, a big achievement. Now, RBI keeps repo rate unchanged at 6.5%. The Reserve Bank of India has decided to keep the policy repo rate unchanged for the fourth time. Now, this announcement came after a 3-day meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee, and the RBI Governor, Mr. Shaktikant Das, stated that the decision was unanimous. Shaktikant Das, in a press conference, stated that the repo rate and the meeting that was held, that is Monetary Policy Committee meeting, has decided to maintain the key policy rate, the repo rate, at 6.5%. Now, what is repo rate? So repo rate is the interest rate at which country's central bank, that is RBI, lends money to commercial banks. So when RBI lends the money to commercial banks, it charges an interest rate which is called as repo rate. It is a tool used to regulate the flow of funds in an economy and thereby control inflation. Okay. Now, RBI's UDGAM portal, how to register, check details of unclaimed deposits. So RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, has launched a centralized web portal named UDGAM, that is Unclaimed Deposits Gateway to access information for individual to search such deposits across multiple banks in one space. Now, what are unclaimed deposits? So it's a very technical term. According to RBI, balances in savings or current account which are not operated for 10 years, okay, or term deposits not claimed within 10 years from the date of maturity are classified as unclaimed deposits. Now, how to access? Individual will have to register to access and check for unclaimed deposits on the platform. Users will have to go to UDGAM portal, enter all the relevant details, name and contact persons. User need to have the PAN card, voter ID, driving license, number, passport details. Upon entering the relevant details, individual would be able to look out for unclaimed deposits of the account holder. Okay. Now, this will be starting from 15th October 2023. Rajasthan government announces 3 new districts ahead of assembly polls. So, Rajasthan Chief Minister Mr. Ashok Gehlot has announced for the formation of 3 new districts in the state, which are Malpura, Sujangarh, and Kachchman City. The Chief Minister said the decision was taken keeping the demand of the public and the recommendation of high-level committee. Now, earlier in August, the state government announced 17 new districts and redrawn the 2 large urban districts, that is Jaipur and Jodhpur. Rajasthan is among the 5 states which will go to assembly elections later this year, along with Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, and Mizoram. So these are the 5 states where assembly elections will be held in the coming year, which is Telangana, Mizoram, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan. Rajasthan government issues order for caste survey. Rajasthan Social Justice and Empowerment Department had issued orders asking the planning department to conduct a caste survey in the state. So Rajasthan is the second state after Bihar to conduct a population count caste survey. Assembly polls in Rajasthan are due later this year, and the election schedule is expected to be announced anytime soon. Now, Bihar recently published on October 2nd, the caste survey showed that OBC, that is other backward classes and extremely backward classes, constitute around 63% of the state population. While planning department was made nodal agency of the survey, the district collector, municipality chairman, councillors, and the members of the Gram Panchayat would assist to conduct the survey. Air Chief Marshal unveils new ensign of IAF, that is at Air Force Day Parade. Chief of Air Staff Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary has unveiled a new ensign of Indian Air Force, replacing the existing one that was adopted 7 decades back. It was released on the 91st IAF Day celebrations in Uttar Pradesh, Prayagraj. Now in this new ensign, the IAF crest features in the top right corner. IAF crest has the national symbol Ashoka on the top with the word Satyamev Jayate in Devnagari below it. Below the Ashoka lion is a Himalayan eagle with its wings spread, denoting the fighting qualities of Indian Air Force. A ring in the light blue color encircles the Himalayan eagle with the words Bharatiya Vayu Sena. Now, the motto of Indian Air Force is touch the sky with the glory is inscribed below the Himalayan eagle in Devnagari. The IF motto has been taken from the verse 24, chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita and means radiant door touches heaven, or in the words touching the sky with glory. IIT Madras opens Center of Excellence for Sustainability aiming to tackle global challenges. Now, IIT Madras has opened this particular center. It will also provide a platform to host events and showcase technology that can help drive both practice and policy. Now, this particular center conceptualizes a center of excellence. The school will bring together faculty members from across department and research institute of the research centers of the institute in the 4 area, that is decarbonization, human settlement, modeling and scenario development, and behavioral industrial challenge. The school will undertake basic scientific research, transactional and product development, pilot implementation, and policy advisory. So IIT Madras has Center for Excellence for Sustainability. Sri Lanka takes over chairmanship of Indian Ocean Rim Association during 23rd Council of Ministers meeting. Sri Lanka has taken the chairmanship during 23rd Council of Ministers meeting, which held in Colombo. Now, Sri Lanka will hold this chairmanship from 2023 to 2025, with the Foreign Minister of Bangladesh ceremoniously handing over the chairmanship to Sri Lankan Foreign Minister. Okay, so that the Indian Ocean Rim Association is an intergovernmental organization which was established in 1997, comprises 23 member states and 11 dialogue partners hailing from regions surrounding the Indian Ocean. Iran-Sudan normalized ties after 7 years of estrangement. Iran and Sudan has resumed their diplomatic relations after 7 years of estrangement. A joint statement released by Iranian ministry. Now, the statement said the two sides agreed to expand joint cooperation in various fields in a matter that would serve the interests of two countries, people, and ensure the security and stability of the region. Now, in March this year, Saudi Arabia and Iran agreed to resume diplomatic relations under China mediation policy. The national news coming from RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, doubles UCB gold loan limit to 4 lakh. The Reserve Bank of India has increased the existing limit of gold loans under the bullet repayment scheme from 2 lakh to 4 lakh for urban cooperative banks that have met the overall target. The move comes on the back of the sharp jump in gold prices. Under the bullet repayment, the principal and the interest on a loan are paid in lump sum by a borrower to a lender at the end of the loan tenure. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath declares gangetic dolphin as UP's aquatic animal. Now, Chief Minister on Friday declared the gangetic dolphin as a state aquatic animal and emphasized on the need to maintain purity of ponds and rivers. The Chief Minister also highlighted the importance of training local residents on how to interact with wildlife. He proposed training individuals from villages connected to the tiger reserve as guides, aiming to create employment opportunities and raise awareness within the community. Coming up to the next national news, guys, our slides are a bit long today because of the various news that are coming up, and we have covered every single news, so please stay tuned with us. I understand it has a very long video today, but we cannot help it. Now, National Conference Congress Alliance sweeps Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council Kargil polls. They bagging 21 seats while the BJP managed to win only 2 seats. 2 independent candidates also were declared winners, while the result on 1 seat was not announced till late in the evening. In the 13-member Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council, 4 members are nominated by the administration. In the previous Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council Kargil elections, the BJP had only managed to secure 1 seat, making their 2-seat win this time a notable achievement. Now, Indian Navy rolls out 360-degree appraisal mechanism. Indian Navy has institutionalized a transformative appraisal mechanism as a present system has an inherent limitation of a top-down approach. Now, this particular 360-degree appraisal mechanism, boards have been finalized with a focus on having an agile and adaptive human resource management framework. It said, noting the women and the men in whites are central to the force approach and will continue to remain its greatest asset in the foreseeable future. In this regard, now in the present appraisal mechanism of periodic confidential report by senior officers has an inherent limitation of a top-down approach, as it does not cater for or quantify a leader's impact on subordinate. A Navy said similar appraisal systems are in vogue in various national and international learning organizations. So they will be adopting 360-degree appraisal mechanism. Now, important days. World Space Week 2023. What is its history, importance, and theme? So it is observed from 4th October to 10th October. The celebration recognizes the significant role that space science and innovation play in improving mankind well-being. Now, various space-related exercises are led by space agencies throughout the week, like planetariums, museum, cooperation, educational foundation, and astronomy. Now, what is this particular history? The resolution was passed by UN General Assembly on December 6, 1999. That the World Space Week started to be celebrated by enthusiasts around the world. The UN General Assembly announced this day to praise the commitment of space science and technology to the advancement of the human condition. Now, subsequently, a large number of individuals from around the world every year take part to commemorate the week between 4th October till 10th October. Now, the theme of the World Space Week this year is Space and Entrepreneurship, which aims at expanding awareness and starting discussions around developing the commercial space segment and its impact on advancement of space science and technology. So, World Space Week 2023. World Post Day celebrated on October 9. Now, the significance is invaluable contribution of postal workers to our societies and economies. It marks the establishment of Universal Postal Union and the creation of the revolutionary mode of communication. It is celebrated in remembrance of the foundation of Universal Postal Union in 1874 in Bern, Switzerland. It is celebrated across 151 countries, and it was declared as a World Postal Day by UPU Congress held in Tokyo, Japan in 1969. India too acknowledges this year, and it is celebrated on October 9th, World Post Day. Now, international news. Kenyan Kimtum breaks Kipchoge world record to win Chicago Marathon men's title. Kenya's Kelvin Kimtum set a record to win Sunday's Chicago Marathon men's title in an unofficial time of 2 hours and 35 seconds. It was Kimtum's third victory in as many starts over the 26.2-mile distance. The 30-year-old Ethiopian-born runner set a course record. Her time was second only to the women's world record of 2:11:53 set by Ethiopian's Tigist Asefa at last month's Berlin Marathon. Okay, guys. चलें next news की तरफ. Nobel Prize in Economics for 2023. Nobel Prize in Economics was awarded on October 9th to Claudia Golden, a Harvard University professor, for having advanced our understanding of women labor market outcomes. So very interesting topic on which the Nobel Prize was awarded. Now this particular prize in 1968, Sweden's central bank established the prize in economic science in memory of Alfred Nobel, founder of the Nobel Prize. The prize is based on a donation received by Nobel Foundation in 1968 from Sweden's central bank on the occasion of bank's 300th anniversary. The prize in economic sciences is awarded by Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences, Stockholm, Sweden, according to the same principles as for the Nobel Prizes that have been awarded since 1901. Pak versus Sri Lanka. Kusal Mendes hits fastest century by Sri Lanka in Men ODI World Cup. Kusal Mendes hits the fastest century by a Sri Lanka better in Men's ODI World Cup on Tuesday against Pakistan at Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium in Hyderabad. Now, fastest 100 by Sri Lankan batters in World Cup. Kusal Mendes of 65 balls. Sri Lanka versus Pakistan, Hyderabad 2023. Then Kumar Sangakkara of 70 balls in 2015. And again Kumar Sangakkara of 73 balls, Melbourne 2015. So guys, I hope you're seeing the World Cup this year, which is happening in India. And we hope that India wins for this World Cup 2023. Now, 2023 Nobel Peace Prize awarded to Nargis Mohammadi, women's rights activist jailed in Iran. Nargis Mohammadi, a jailed Iranian women rights advocate, won the 2023 Nobel Peace Prize. The former vice president of Defenders of Human Rights Center organization was chosen by a panel of experts in Norway from a list of just over 350 nominations. Mohammadi, a 51-year-old, has done her work despite facing numerous arrests and spending years behind bars for her activism. She was detained in 2021 after she attended a memorial for a person killed in nationwide 2019 protests sparked by increase in gasoline prices. She's been held at Tehran's notorious Evin prison, whose inmates include those with Western ties and political prisoners. In total, she has been sentenced to 31 years in prison. She is the 19th woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize and the second Iranian woman after her colleague human rights activist Shireen Ebadi won the award in 2023. Mohammadi was behind the bars for the recent protest over the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini in police custody. That sparked one of the most intense challenges ever to Iran democracy. So Nobel Peace Prize goes to Nargis Mohammadi. Europe's first fully private rocket launch takes place from Spain. Spain company, that is PLD Space, launched Mura-1 rocket on Saturday, marking Europe's first fully private rocket launch. The launch is being viewed as a boost to Europe's stalled space ambitions. So it's a private rocket launch. Mont Blanc mountain shrinks over 2 meters in height in 2 years, says researchers. Western Europe's highest peak, that is Mont Blanc, has lost more than 2 meters in height over the past 2 years. The experts said it is now up to climatologists, glaciologists, and other scientists to look at the data collected and put forward all the theories to explain this phenomena. Switzerland glaciers suffered their second worst melt rate this year after record 2022 losses, shrinking their overall volume by 10% over the last 2 years. Guys, a very humble appeal coming from our organization that global warming is increasing day by day. As an individual and citizens of our country, we need to mark our contribution to the society, and this is something which is happening day to day. We are on a daily basis. We are, talking about sustainability, then goals, then we're talking about climatology, then the glaciers are melting, shrinking. So this is something very, very. We need to think about this a lot now. EU approves world's first green bond standard to avoid greenwashing. European Union lawmaker approved new standards for companies issuing green bonds to help investors pick sustainable company and avoid greenwashing or misleading climate-friendly claims. Now, why it is in news? The European Union approved new standard for companies issuing green bonds to help investors pick sustainable companies and avoid greenwashing, misleading climate-friendly claims. The European Parliament voted in favor of the new voluntarily standard for the use of European Green Bond label, calling it first of its kind in the world. Now, Green Bond is also known as Climate Bond, is a fixed income financial instrument which is used to fund projects that have positive environmental and or climate benefit. A green bond is a debt security issued by an organization for the purpose of financing or refinancing projects that contribute positively to the environment and or climate. A green bond is alternatively known as a climate bond. Saudi Arabia takes formal step to host 2034 World Cup, submit letter of intent to FIFA. Now, 2034 FIFA World Cup, Saudi Arabia took the official step by submitting a letter of intent to host the FIFA World Soccer governing body. FIFA announced it had reached an agreement to host 2030 World Cup across 3 continents, that is South America, Africa, and Europe. FIFA said that the World Cup matches were being held in South America as a part of centenary celebrations of the first World Cup held in Uruguay. Saudi Arabia gets the nod to host the event. FIFA World Cup will return to Asia 12 years after Qatar hosted the 2022 World Cup. So Saudi Arabia 2023 World Cup, FIFA. Legal update coming from the Supreme Court allows married women to abort unplanned pregnancy at 26 weeks, citing mental and financial reasons. Supreme Court has allowed the medical termination of pregnancy of a married woman who is 26 weeks pregnant. Now, the petitioner is a mother of 2 children. She is suffering postpartum depression and that she is not in a position to raise a third child emotionally, financially, and mentally. The court was also informed that she has been undergoing psychiatric treatment for a year. So, Supreme Court has allowed for a married woman to abort an unplanned pregnancy. It is coming from the bench of Justice Hima Kohli and Justice B.V. Nagaratna. Now, the next legal update coming from the Guwahati High Court in the case of Shri Deva Prasad Datta versus State of Assam. Intra-court appeal not maintainable against single judge's order in criminal writ jurisdiction. The Guwahati High Court has recently held that an intra-court writ appeal does not lie against an order or judgment passed by a single judge bench in exercise of the criminal jurisdiction. The division bench of Chief Justice Sandeep Mehta and Justice Kardat Ete further directed the court rules to be clarified to explicitly state that no intra-court appeal is permanent in such cases. So intra-court appeal is not maintainable against a single judge order in criminal jurisdiction, which is coming under Article 226 of the Constitution. That's all for the today's news update and the legal news. Thank you for watching. Take care.